So we are back. We're going to start leading into our wind cards from Opus 26 now. And as promised in the last video, we do have our special guest with us. So I will let him introduce himself, and we'll just kind of go from there.
I'm Leon. Some people might know me from the Cecil guy on the channel because that's the only deck that I played or like every other video except for the one time I played 13. I have experience in, I want to say, 7 or 8 different card games by now. Currently Final Fantasy, One Piece being the main 2 that I'm focused on at the moment. And I'm just kind of excited to see what new things are going to pop up in the new set. Hopefully things to shape up the meta a little bit.
Alrighty. So with that, we also do have Oscar, of course. He's going to be there in the background.
Yo.
So let's go ahead and jump in with...
Great vibing.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and jump in with Ash. This was a card that was actually spoiled, but if you control 3 or more Category 12 cards, the cost required to cast Ash is reduced by 3. So, the first thing that comes to mind is like Turbo Bosch. Unfortunately, we don't play very much wind in that, unless you're playing the Fran version, which was really cool to see. But the forwards other than Ash you control gain 2k, and then you can duel an active 12 character. Choose a forward during this turn. The next damage is reduced by 2,000 to that forward. So, I kind of like that. I think that's interesting.
Are there any other reducers in 12?
Not that I can.
My thought is, could you make this free?
You're talking CP reduction. No. Not that I can think of.
No? That free plays.
Yeah, Fran.
Because I am noticing, just from skimming through the cards that we were looking at, they're starting to do away with the "it can't be 0" clause.
Yep.
Which I kind of like.
Yeah, I agree.
But I'm wondering if that's going to speed the game up even more. But we have like low cost decks like those who should not be named running around before things got hit. It makes a lot of sense to like give other decks a way to get a little bit faster.
Yeah.
So I really like that type of effect. I hope they do stick with that moving forward.
Yeah.
But I do like it. Have you been playing around with it? Because I know you were playing Bosch for a while. It wasn't the ninja version, but do you think this kind of has a good home?
I think at least if you're looking at a more dedicated Category 12 deck, then yes, I think that running it with Bosch is really interesting. I think if you're looking at like Turbo Bosch, where we're in like Earth Lightning mainly, and then you do play a little bit of water in that deck, I don't think it has a big home in there. But I do think what I find interesting is, I think Oscar and I were talking about a Bosch deck that played monsters at one point, because Bosch adds a Category 12 card to your hand. So it could be a summon, a monster, or forward backup. Doesn't matter. So the fact that it can add monsters is really interesting, and if there's any busted Category 12 monsters, then you could basically duel them to help save the forwards that you have if you need them. Obviously, you have some pretty impactful Category 12 forwards, like Vaughn, if you're going the more Sky Pirates way, if you're going the Bosch way, Bosch, Fran, if you're going the Fran way. So the fact that she gives all of your forwards plus 2k, and then you're able to duel other things down, you're effectively, adding 4k power to certain things, which is really interesting. And the fact that it reduces the damage by 2k is, it's a nice little touch. I just think it almost feels more like a win more. It depends on like where your board state's at. If your board state's like super heavy, then obviously you're going to be, reducing things by possibly 10 or 12k, and that's huge. But I think it doesn't really have a home in the conventional Turbo Bosch, but I think Category 12 could definitely use it.
Yeah, maybe like a little bit more of a mid-range Bosch that kind of takes the game bit by bit.
Yeah, I think.
This ends up just really.
Yeah, I think.
Because Bosch is 9K himself, right?
Correct, he is. So then he becomes 11K, and then at the beginning of the attack phase, if you wanted to, instead of milling, you could just add 2K to everything again. So he effectively becomes a 13K, which would be really cool.
That's a big fucking body.
And how do we beat the other decks? You either be faster than them, bigger than them, or pull out a gun. So
shoot the opponent. They can't win if they can't play.
Yeah. So moving on to, or Oscar, did you have anything on Ash? You're kind of a Sky Pirates gamer.
I think it'll be pretty decent in Sky Pirates. It's reduced by 3, and then it buffs your board, so it already gives your Balthier more power.
True.
And your friend.
True.
So.
And it can help out like all the weenies.
Yeah, well, gives your Pinello and Kite's a little buff, but Kite's you're gonna remove it anyways. So, but Pinello it does boost it a little bit.
I mean, hey, with Kites, you could party attack with it, and then later on, pop it.
Yeah.
At least it has a little bit more of a use case outside of just what it's intended.
Yeah, I do think if you're running the traditional Sky Pirates anyways, it's a tight deck anyways, just because you're trying to get you ramped up on your backups and everything, so I don't know if there's enough room for this, but maybe a one-off would be pretty cool.
Well, of course there's room, because now Cecil's banned, and so this could just slide into that spot. May not have the same effect, but if you were just looking for a win slot in, this would be your win slot in.
Yeah, that's true.
I do think it's interesting that she's dropped Queen as well, being able to be searched off of Sarah. I mean, it's not like that benefits in the Sky Pirates deck very much, but just she's definitely searchable. She's definitely a go-getter if you needed her kind of thing.
Give it 2 more sets and they'll get the Queen Searcher for Cat 12.
Yes.
I'll be really online.
If you play Final Fantasy TCG, there's a very good chance that you've purchased cards from Nerd Labs already. Nerd Labs has nearly 2,000 completed sales in just over the last 11 months or so, with overwhelmingly positive feedback. We're on TCG Player, but just as a little hint, if you follow the link in the description, there's no price floor when prices are updated on a daily basis. Always happy to support the stack. Let's get back to the video. So moving on to Alexander. So our summon from this cycle, basically dull 2 active win forwards instead of paying the CP cost. You can choose a forward of 5 or more and break it. I'm sorry. It's choose a character of 5 or more. That's even better. So we kind of were chit-chatting. Yeah. We were kind of chit-chatting a little bit before we started recording to catch Leon up, and I kind of alluded to the fact that I think Wind could have an interesting position with these, kind of like how Oscar and I were talking in the previous video, where you have those forwards that just kind of sit there and do nothing. In the conventional Wind deck, you're basically free casting this card, right? You are casting it without paying any CP. The only thing you're paying is from some forwards that aren't doing anything anyways. The fact that Rosa is pretty much a forward that never really does anything, she's essentially just fuel for this, right? So the turn that I'm already going to be casting and doing my whole thing, obviously I'm going to or I'm probably going to be going for a Lulu or a Luso that I can't do anything with because they don't have haste. But this turn I now can dull the Rosa and whatever other forward that I have to break, possibly like a Tyro or a Sarah FFL, or I can go after some pretty important backups in that realm. And then character or forward wise, I can go after the Tyvus, I can go after Ifrit. You can actually start to use that Alexander for quite a bit. It's quite interesting.
You can go after the Ramza. You can go after the Gorilla.
Yep.
And since it has to target a 5 or more, it gets around like Charlotte protection or Arn protection, and so it directly shoots the big bodies. That kind of can be a little bit problematic. And also, you gotta give Rosa more credit. She does something. When she flips the top of your deck, you know, she shows you that it's something that you already have on board. And there you go, you got some information.
Exactly. She does nothing for me. She activates my backups. I'll say that.
There you go. She allows Mono Win to do Mono Win things.
Yeah. Oscar, you have anything on Alexander?
I think it's pretty cool. Just like you said, just Dolan. Like if you play Rosa, then play just any other Win character, and then Dolan. That's cast 3.
Yep.
Dull both your forwards. That's cast 3. Stand up all your backups. It's cool for Mono Win. Probably like a 1-of. I know that's already tight on summons, anyways, but I think it does open it up to be able to free cast stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
I think with the climate that we're in, I'd probably run it at least at 2. At least at 2. Because you do got a lot of big bodies running around. Unless it's Refia, then it doesn't do much. But outside of Refia, I think you could get away with running it at least 2.
Yeah.
That way you can see it when you need it.
I just like that it's a free cast. It's literally a free cast. It costs me 0 CP from my current board state to cast it. It's really, really good.
Especially if, like you played 2 bodies, they don't have haste anyway, but they still have some agency in the game.
Right.
Which I guess that's going to be another thing that people are going to have to keep track of. Like, all right, you have 2 of the same element character out. Are you playing the summon?
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of like that. I kind of like that mental gymnastic that it prompts in the game.
Yeah. So next we have Vaughn. So when Vaughn enters the field, reveal the top 3. Add a Sky Pirate among them to your hand. It can be forward or backup. Return the others to the bottom. When a Sky Pirate other than Vaughn enters the field, choose up to 2 backups and activate them. This will only trigger once per turn. This card would have been so good if it was not once per turn on that backup activation. But I completely understand why they did that.
As the man who plays Mono Wind, you should understand the most out of the 3 of us why they did that.
Yeah, I know. I don't have too much to say. I mean, it's a pretty generic Sky Pirate. I hate the art. That's about all.
I feel like this one kind of goes in tandem with what Oscar was saying about Sky Pirates. Because Ash, of course, given the circumstances, you can easily make room for Ash. I don't know what you would cut for this.
Yeah, I think there's.
What do you think, Oscar?
Honestly, I think this goes into the same debate I had about cadets. I think there's so many Vaughns out there, they need to start putting an S fodder on them. Because if you're going to play more than one, so you obviously either going to play the water wind one or just the other wind one that you can pay a water or a wind when it enters the field to gain such effect. I think they need to start printing S fodders.
Wait, hold on. Now I think I'm starting to get it. Outside of the scope of standard, this would be something that we should try and then maybe revisit some of these cards. What if it's for not standard, like L3 or what is it, L2, L3 and L2,
L3 and L6,
L3 and L6. Okay, yeah. So maybe it has a home in like a Cat 12 Sky Pirates L3 or L6 style deck. Maybe we could try that out and then see if it has more merit. I can probably say the same for a lot of these cards too. Because a lot of them do already have the best in class for their particular archetype or deck.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm definitely a standard gamer, So it's hard for me to say. I mean, we did play the pre-release one time, which was cool. Limited. But
Well, all four of us.
yeah, but yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me to imagine the game in a scope outside of standard, I guess. And in that scope, I think 100% there's better Vaughns out there. Shit, I think the Vaughn from 2 sets ago was better. The one that gains crystals when he attacks and doubles damage.
Yeah, I think I'll try it out. I'll try building some title and like L6 or L3 decks just to see what the limitations are and see what like makes some of the decks good in those formats, and then maybe I'll report back.
Okay. Next we have Sky Samurai. When Sky Samurai attacks, choose up to 2 backups and activate them. Sky Samurai gains plus 2k until the end of turn. So, whatever. It's an okay card. I don't think there's going to be any huge impact. I will call out, it's hilarious to say that if you were to get rid of my 2 backups as I attacked, I wouldn't gain the 2k. But other than that, that's about it.
That one guy running pure backup hate. He's looking at this card and is like, yeah, it's my time has come.
Other than that, I don't have anything to say there.
Okay. We can move on unless you have something else.
Nah, definitely not.
Aerith. So when Aerith enters the field, activate all Category 7 characters other than Aerith that you control. I'm going to say this is a great effect. It's just terrible that it's on card name Aerith.
Why is that?
Well, because of the soldier loop, it requires a different Aerith. This would be really good to reactivate like Cloud Pod. Doing shenanigans like that would be really cool. But the fact that the other Aerith already kind of does that, it just makes this a little bit less interesting to me.
Yeah. And was that Aerith recent, that one?
The one that I'm talking about? No, it's Opus 10.
Yeah.
I haven't fully revealed my Category 7 loop deck yet, but maybe one day. So this Aerith in particular, choose 3 Category 7 characters other than Aerith and activate them. So the fact that she can activate backups and the fact that she can activate Cloud Pod kind of lets you loop a little bit. She's used in the OTK that Raleigh has too, the Opus 10 one.
Yeah.
So...
yeah, I remember.
I just feel like that Aerith is so much more versatile than this Aerith. Now, if this Aerith was a backup, we'd be in hot business, but the fact that it's a forward is a little bit wonky. But anyways, yeah, I don't have much else to say about this Aerith.
I think this is one of those cards that falls into that conversation that I mentioned of just it's the best. The best in class or standard already exists, so maybe it has a home in one of the other formats.
Yeah.
Like, I do like it, the fact that it activates all your Cat 7 characters. I don't know if there are any Cat 7 characters that can really benefit from that effect. You know, I mean, since it is characters, you can also activate your backup, so maybe you can get some CP back. But I don't know. I think it'd be one of those things that would warrant some testing to see maybe if it has more merit than what I think it does in other formats.
Yeah.
I know a lot of decks that I tend to build are like title adjacent, that they're for standard. That's probably why I don't win very much.
That is a fair assessment. I have never put that together, but you do that. You really do.
Yeah, I like a good theme, man. I can't help it.
Your theme should be to win. How about that?
All right, I'll give that a shot next time. Next time we go to Raleigh.
You can still go
Oscar,
to Wilson.
do you have anything?
Nah. It's a 7 for me. It's Cat 7.
Oh, I was going to say 7 out of 10. Dang. Echo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, when Echo enters the field, you may search for a card named Wool and add it to your hand. Put Echo into the break zone. Choose one card named Wool. It gains this character cannot be chosen by summons or abilities. So, I'm just going to call out that this might be the best thing. Nope, I lied. It's the worst thing. It's the absolute worst thing. I was going to say this might be the best thing to happen to Windfire in a long time, but I was thinking that 4 CP Wool over there on the right was this 3 CP Warrior Light. So definitely terrible card. Absolutely terrible card now.
Hold on. Wait, so, okay. I don't know about you, but your boy does have that janky Mobius deck that he built, so I would definitely use this.
Fair.
It's an EX. It goes and gets me one of my 3 wolves.
I just don't.
I can just start running more wolves.
Are there any like impactful Wools anymore? Like this one. This one's really like interesting. I really like this one. The fact that he's a Warrior Dawn is terrible. This Wool is, obviously it's pretty big. It's a good Mobius center card. I don't mind that one. This would be interesting if we were
6 for 12.
Sorry.
At best, it's a 6 for 12, or no, a 6 for 13. We can play the Yasmat. He's not a great card, but it can play it.
True.
I know we've played like Neo X Death off of it.
Mm-hmm. Like I think this is a cool Wool. If we were talking, 10, 12 sets ago, it would be kind of cool to bring this back. But yeah, I just don't think it searches for anything impactful outside of like a very specific Mobius deck.
You got the light wool down there, bottom right.
Yeah. But are we really going to start playing a light card in like Refia? Because this
absolutely not.
Yeah, this doesn't do anything there.
The backup line of Refia is really tight.
I mean, like I could see maybe playing this in the Fire Wind deck that I have still. If we were going the more Warrior Light centric version where we play Time Magic Barts, the Lunith, and the Arc maybe for our backups, maybe Princess Goblin to search out, a Warrior Light backup or something like that. I mean, I could see that, but it just feels like we're trying to cram more cards that they're not as impactful as they could be, I guess. I don't know.
There's already a good deal of stuff that do this.
Yeah.
For it, especially in regards to Mobius, because I think Mobius has 2 searchers. It has 2 searchers and 2 cards that dig. Not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a consistency piece that who knows if it's needed or not.
Yeah.
The fact that it searches specifically Wool and not Wool or Mobius does kind of limit it a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a fan. Oscar?
I think I'd still try it out just to see.
I just think you can search the Wool backup in Mono Wind. It might help you ramp up backups, but that's about it.
Fair.
And then the other will look at the top 5, I think, or something like that, and then add a wind character.
Yeah, top 5. Yeah, top 5. Add a wind card.
A wind card. So, I mean, it might get you to another backup.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I could see maybe. Yeah, that's an angle. I don't know that it's a good angle, but it's an angle. At least for Mono Wind, just saying.
Yeah. Yeah, they both replace themselves, so you still kind of in a sense. I don't want to say go card neutral because that's a little bit harder to do in this game. But they both replace themselves, so you're not just empty-handed from dropping the both of them on the same turn.
So next, moving on to Ashan, I'm assuming how that's pronounced. For each 12 that you control other than himself, he gains 1,000. If he has 10,000 power or more, he cannot be chosen by abilities, and if he's dealt damage, it becomes 0 instead.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna lie, I have very, very briefly looked at the 12 cards, and I remember not much of any of them.
I'm going to...
I don't know what synergy there could be for this.
So we're gonna talk about it in a couple of lines down here, but they do have a color fixer, so that's kind of cool. And Oscar and I in the previous video were kind of going on about Menfina. The fact that when she enters, she can pay X. At least turn 1, you could play Menfina, pay X. X is 4. Go grab this guy, Naldal, whatever his name is. He's gonna grab a category or a job 12 from your break zone. Since you control 2, it needs to be equal to the same number that you control. You're gonna bring this out. So on turn 1, essentially, if you opened up with Exodia, you could basically have 3 job 12s onto the field at in turn 1, right? So
backups and a body.
Yeah, three backups, right?
3 backups. That was a backup?
Yes, 3 backups.
Oh, okay, so yeah, 3 backups.
So then turn 2, you drop this guy, and he gains 1,000 for each, so he'd still only be at 8k, which I just don't think that's like amazing.
It is one of those things that I think would be decent in a much slower format than standard.
Yeah.
I think that's the scope to look at it as.
I think if we're playing a deck where we can give this guy power, like outside of being job 12, like if we had a deck that just boosted this guy, like that's kind of interesting. But even then, like he doesn't, it's not like he gains anything that like advances you from having 10,000 power or more. He becomes defensive at 10,000 power or more. So
yeah, and that's the effect is it's something that it's a lot of hoops to get to that other cards can do for less.
Right. And I mean, I get it. We're either going to be faster, we're either going to be bigger, or we're going to pull out the gun.
It provides the same similar effect. So
yeah.
And so it's like the effect itself isn't bad. It's just the hoops to get there is like, I could run one of this.
Yeah. I think it's
but I wouldn't make it like the crux of my game plan.
Yeah.
It's very cool to see the synergy. I like synergies like this because it incentivizes building a theme deck. But it's not. It's a heroic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about that.
I'd say.
But again, maybe I could be wrong because we all do melee play standard. So maybe I could be wrong. Maybe it like really be impactful in a slower format. But for standard, at least.
I don't see it. What do you think, Oscar?
Most assuredly stick around as if it was this and 5 to 12 backups. That way it can't lose its effect from you blowing up the board for whatever reason.
True.
What do you think, Oscar?
I think this from a sport race standpoint, you just run one of Paracotta. I think that's the name of it. This is going to be a one of in this deck, just because it's a 12, it's a wind, and it can be playable in late game. So that's about it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot Soiree exists. That kind of does something. We should test that. One of us will build Soiree. The other one will build 12, and we'll see how they stack up.
Well, that's kind of what we were talking about in the last video. Is that these are kind of like the new soirees, but so far they don't feel like they're better.
I have to look at them some more because again, I've looked at the 12 cards very, very briefly.
Yeah. So next, moving on to Cloud, 5 CP for 2 warp though, or for 2 wind, you can warp it for warp 2. When Cloud enters or attacks, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a wind card, add it to your hand. So if you warp him, he could essentially replace himself in a wind-centric deck. And then for special in 1 wind, you can choose a 4 to 5 or more and break it. So I think this is an interesting card simply for wind lightning decks.
Specifically wind lightning.
Only reason I say that is because I think this is cool for LB Cloud to have more special fodder that's in color.
Okay.
Because you're already running the Wind Lightning Cloud, but that's not really the angle of Wind Lightning anyways. Like, and it's just, other than that, I literally don't see any reason that I would ever run this card. It's a 5 CP warrior. I mean, that's something because you could run, Fire Wind Warriors now with what's his face that searches out a 5 CP and a 3 CP. Whoop-de-doo. I still don't think that this is great. I think it's kind of interesting that if I were to give him haste, he could effectively draw 2 if luck worked out. But even then, I just don't see it. I just don't think this is super impactful.
Could I ask you something?
Sure.
When warp goes off, does it count towards a cast trigger?
No.
No?
No.
Really? So you couldn't use it in mono wind and it counts towards your cast count?
Nope. Because casting a card is playing it from your hand onto the field.
Oh, that's a bummer. Never mind then. There goes my thought.
Yeah.
So I was like, this could be a body that you see in 2 turns in mono wind, because I know mono wind historically kind of struggles with having big bodies on board.
Mm-hmm.
And so you warp it out, and then in 2 turns after you've gotten set up, you've done some mono wind things, you cast it, and then that's just 1 free card that counts towards your cast count and gives you a card on top of it. That was the thought, but since it doesn't do that, never mind.
Yeah, unfortunately not.
Damn, that's tragic.
I also hate the fact that it's card name Cloud. If it was Yuffie, I would actually enjoy it pretty much, pretty highly, because it would be a 5 CP for the soldier loop that would actually be kind of cool, but because it's card name Cloud, it's pretty terrible.
I'm so sick of them doing this to Cloud. They keep giving him jobs that don't match any of the archetypes that he could go into, or any of the cohesive elements that he could go into.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, here's a Cloud that cares about Avalanche, but he's job Merc though. Here's a soldier Cloud that could go with Genesis, except he's Earth. And I'm so sick of them treating him like this.
He's the poster
child.
Let
the man exist in some synergy.
He's the poster child, but they can't make him too good now.
Just let him exist in a synergy. Just one. Just one of them. Because I think none of the Clouds really match any of the synergies that Cat 7 has to offer, except for Merc.
But he has the Cloud synergy. You just run 22 Clouds in the deck.
You know what? That's it. That's it. You know what? As the man who ran 9 Cecils, you right. You absolutely right about that. It's Cloud Voltron. That's what we're doing.
There you go.
25.
Oscar, you have any thoughts?
No, it's just a card. I have no right now.
It's just a card.
Jessica.
So, Cactuar Conductor. Nice little art here. So, 2 CP backup. We can tap and put him into the break zone. Choose a category waft forward of 5 or less you control. Remove it from the game and play it onto the field. So that's interesting. Plays it onto the field at the end of the turn. So that's kind of cool. I wonder if there's anything interesting you could do with like monsters, because there's some, Wolf monsters out there.
That are also forwards.
Yeah, you could do some interesting stuff there, maybe. I don't know, flickering something. I don't know that there's anything really worth flickering in WAF right now. I mean, WAF's kind of been by the wayside for quite a while at this point. I'm interested to see if this has a full art, though, because it's going to be pretty. Look at that.
Ooh.
Look at that. That's so nice.
I like that.
Me too.
That's adorable.
Yeah, other than that, I don't see anything spectacular here.
Maybe there's not really a shell for WAF, is there?
So
Outside of what was it, Lin and Ren?
Yeah, I was gonna say the Ren, whatever you want to call her. I think this is kind of what they're trying to bring back. But like this doesn't really do anything when you flicker it, right? Like it's more of a protection spell at that point. So
yeah,
I don't know.
And it's off color. It's off element.
Yeah. I was about to say, are we still trying
it's
to?
Like, is it? Is it even worth splashing wind just to play this?
Probably not.
You can play the Warp Charlotta back onto the field, search a card.
Is she a forward?
You could.
Yeah, she's a forward.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, still. Oh, yeah, that's right. So yeah, that's
There you go.
something.
For any diehard WAF players out there, let us know. Would you play this, and what would you play it with?
I'm a diehard WoW fan, and I would not play it. That statement was very.
You played
untrue.
World of Final Fantasy?
No, I did not. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
You've
yeah.
got somebody's hopes up.
I mean, yeah, I don't know what I would really be doing with this. Like I said, I think this is kind of like the cool, like that's the first WoF character that comes to mind when we talk about like 5 CP WoF characters. But I mean, again, it does nothing
you
to
could
flicker
warp
it.
the Quaco Queen. I mean, you could flicker the Quaco Queen.
So
I mean, I don't know what that would do in those situations, but I mean, yeah, you could.
true.
How
Yeah,
impactful is it? Is it something you can do? It absolutely is.
I think this is kind of like where they're headed with it. Like if you were to do this cloud, maybe when he enters, choose a forward. If its cost is equal to or less than the number of WoF characters you control, break it. So like flickering that isn't bad by any means. Yeah. Other than that, though, like I don't know. Maybe searching for 2 ice summons. I mean, that's a huge amount of CP to gain back. Oscar and I kind of talked about this Undead Princess earlier. The fact that crystals technically have a CP value attached to them, and then it's forcing your opponent to discard a card. You know, you can go like super economy driven at that point and like heavily swing the CP economy in your favor, maybe. But other than that, I don't know.
Again, any diehard WoW fans out there, let us know.
Oscar, you got anything?
And then Ryan will personally build the deck himself and play it.
On material.
Nah, it's another card.
Okay. Cisne.
Does it go in any of my decks? Doesn't exist.
So this Cisne, I Love the art, love the chocobo in the background. Really, really nice.
Mm-hmm. Very beautiful card.
This is a card that I think does help the soldier loop fairly well. So it does a couple of things. I think it, like, Cloudpod obviously goes and gets whatever CP 1+, whatever you ditched away, right? So playing a 3 CP card in the deck that already is going to activate 3 backups when it enters the field is huge. Then, using that to go get your 4 CP characters that are part of the loop, huge. But even like later on down the line, when you have this available, that same Opus 10 Aerith is going to be able to reactivate this card and then reactivate 2 backups. So I now have a gun on a stick. Now, to be fair, we already kind of had a little bit of a gun with Matt. So Matt can basically just reduce something down by 2k, and obviously that's a lot safer than dealing something 2k. But I think this has some implications, and I think it may make a difference depending on like matchups sometimes, whether we want to reduce something by 2k or whether we want to deal it 2k. But anyways, I'm really, really high on this card. I think this card is really, really, really cool. Plus, it gives, monster hate in a deck that probably like doesn't care, but it's an option for specific matchups.
Mm-hmm. I like that it doesn't specify a cost for the monster. Like, it's just do the monster, break it.
Yeah.
Which I'm not going to say we need a ton more of, but I do think it does need to be a little bit more relevant, because it's something that I have found in, for example, One Piece. Every deck kind of has a deck that can counter it, so nothing can just run rampant. I feel like monsters do need that sort of what's the word I'm looking for? I guess antithesis? No, maybe. I don't know. But they do need that sort of deck to kind of keep them in check, just in case,
Mm-hmm.
I know, what is it? Witch is still running around. And that's, I don't want to say it's a hard deck to beat, but it is a hard deck to kind of deal with. It's a weird deck to deal with, especially if you're not equipped to do so. I think just more stuff like this, low into the ground, doesn't need a lot of hoops to jump through to get there. I like it. What do you think, Oscar?
I think it might be like a one of and mono win, could be. Just for monster removal, and then play it, choose up to 3 backups, activate it, counts as a cast. Choose 1/4, deal it 2k, which might not be bad with the wing wyverns. Might help.
Yeah, that's true. It does help you kind of.
I like that. I like the fact that it's modal.
If you do have the wing wyvern string, like if you are going to go all 9k on something, it does help it round up to 11k, because that's something that you couldn't previously do. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I didn't think about it in the scope of mono wind.
Yeah, it's modal.
Yeah.
That way, it's like, okay, cool. I have monster hate if need be, but if you're not playing monsters, it's not just dead in my deck.
True. Alright, so moving on to White Mage. More of this cycle. So tap, discard a card, choose 3 cards in your opponent's break zone, remove them from the game. If the discarded card was water, also draw and then discard. So I think that does a lot for just a discard. The fact that it draws and discards another card is quite good. I can't think. We kind of talked in the previous video about the Vegna gun control deck that we were kind of tinkering with, and how these modal backups, or this cycle of backups rather, kind of helps set up a little bit more consistency when you get stuck with dark or light cards in hand. So being able to just remove 3 cards in the break zone is fairly good. I mean, especially when you can do that at quote-unquote instant speed. When they go to grab something, you just get rid of it. You can effectively remove their break zone pretty quickly. You're paying essentially 3 CP to remove 3 cards. I think that's a slightly better rate than the fire one that we looked at, because it was basically pay 3 CP to deal something 3K, which I felt was pretty terrible. But then if you do add in the element of choice here, so in this one is the water element, drawing a card and discarding a card. It's more filtering, but I think you need to be ahead for that to really make sense. Like, obviously, if I'm, in a pinch and I'm discarding the last card in my hand, then it doesn't really matter if I draw a card and then discard a card. I'm literally just milling myself a card. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I think it's the best one we've seen so far. It's the one I like the most so far, but it's still quite underwhelming. It's
very situational, because let's take Knights for example. If they're going for the Ramza recurring Karilla play, and it's like, okay, you hit the Karilla in the bin and 3 other things. I mean, it's effectively fulfilling the role of a Mist Dragon, but at a little bit more of a cost to your hand. So it's it's one of those things where it's like, hey, I do have this, just so you're aware of, if you are a recursion based deck. And just it existing on the field can change up an entire game plan, because that means they can't just go right in, do what they want to do, unless you just have no cards in hand, and they don't have to really be worried about it. But the fact that he doesn't need a water discard, that's just the benefit of playing water in the deck. I kind of like it. It's very situational, because there's a lot of backups that don't do a lot, from what I've noticed in the game. Like, if it doesn't search, there's not a huge reason to run it.
Yeah,
I kind of like this.
I think it feels better than a Mist Dragon in some regard, though. Simply because, like, so if I'm on 1 backup and I go to cast Mist Dragon, I'm tapping 1 and basically discarding 2, right? I'm tapping 1, discarding 1, playing the Mist Dragon. And then the Mist Dragon will add a card back. Or it'll draw me a card if I'm removing break zone. So it effectively still becomes 3 CP, right? Because I'm getting rid of 1 card plus tapping a card. Whereas this one, I tap and just discard a card straight off. So it's almost the same. I guess Mist Dragon's probably better because you get to see more cards if you want to think about it that way. But I don't know. I think it is almost a wind version of a Mist Dragon.
Mist Dragon,
which is pretty cool.
Yeah, even though it doesn't hit the whole break zone, there's very few times where you really need to hit the whole break zone. Like, if you're a Mist Dragon, it's likely to get rid of like 1 or 2 things in particular. So I think this serves the same purpose.
Yeah,
I can agree with you there. What are your thoughts, Oscar? Would you run this?
Definitely not.
If you can't tell, Oscar's not a big
can't go in Magitsa. It can't go in Magitsa, and it can't go in Mono Earth.
I just think it's an average card. It's probably not going to see much play unless something drastically changes.
Yeah. So moving on to Sonon. If you control a card named Yuffie, Sonon and Yuffie both gain haste. When Sonon forms a party with card named Yuffie and attacks, activate all the backups you control and draw 1 card. So I think this card does a lot, but it feels really weird because, like, when I think of card named Yuffie that I want to have haste, it already has haste, right? So, like, when we talk Yuffie, which I not even taking into account this one, I didn't know that even existed till now, but like this is obviously the big bad Yuffie. So
Yeah.
Kind of expanding a little bit, like outside of that, I think this Yuffie is the one that I most importantly want to have haste, right? Like,
yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, I think this Sonon is a huge boon to even a ninja's deck, just in general. If you built a ninja deck based on this Yuffie, having this Sonon would be really, really cool. And then, like, the fact that when it party attacks, it, activates all your backups and draws a card. That's whatever. I don't think that that's, like, huge, but I think it's very situational.
I kind of like that part, though.
Yeah.
It's
definitely a nice add, but it's not the main thing that I like about the card, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Because you could, turn 1, play Yuffie, play Sonon, go to combat, swing, party attack, draw 2 cards, and you've replaced both of them, and you have 2 bodies on board. And it's a 9K? That's a 9K? That's a 9K 4-drop? Jesus Christ.
Yeah. He's hefty.
Like, I kind of like that. I'm not gonna lie. Like, that's pretty solid.
Yeah.
And I think if you, in hypothetical, because I know there's a backup that also says it. It's a water backup, if I'm not mistaken, that if a party attack you control does damage to a player, draw a card. So you could effectively draw 3 cards from Sonon, Yuffie, and the backup. Andorra, yeah.
Yep.
Andorra, yeah. So you could, in theory, I think. Oh, let me do this math right. So let's see. You go first. You're up to 6. Pay 1. Yuffie, pay 1. Oh no, you're 1 short. You'd have to go second. But still, the fact that you could just outright draw 3 cards from a party attack, I think that's pretty nutty.
Yeah, and then if you work in maybe a Boko, because when a party you control deals damage, draw a card. It'd be kind of
work in Yuna, so you can have some removal. I might just build that. Hold on. I might just build that.
I like
that. Seems kind of fun.
Yeah, I like the idea of doing like a ninja, a mono win ninja maybe, that like just plays into the fact that this Yuffie is busted. Edge, Sukanawa, Yuffie, Sonon.
What's the Yuzuki? Not Yuzuki. Izaioi. He's a water ninja that can play a ninja.
Yeah, you could do that. And then, so this was my secret sauce last week at locals, but choose a forward that cannot be blocked. Being able to block or like swing in with some of your ninjas that could normally be blocked. Or if we want to go a little bit more, Oscar, what's the card that gives your wind forwards that cannot be blocked? It gives your ice forwards first strike, and then your earth
Poppy.
forwards. Poppy, yeah.
Poppy.
You could go this route. So,
okay.
Yeah, I think that would be kind of interesting, giving your ninjas a way to just scoot under a lot of things and be aggressive, and also just have insane amount of value. That could be cool.
My Noctis. To get the rest of my Noctises.
But yeah, so that's
I really like that. I think I have 2 decks that I'll build from this new set.
And then
Water Party and 13.
You were talking about Noctis.
The Light Noctis.
Yeah, that's a really interesting one too. You have 3 or more forwards, because you're already going to have weenie forwards anyways, but being able to...
You can draw 4 cards, Ryan. You can draw 4 cards. I just refill my whole fucking head.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's right up my alley. But anyways.
See, I knew you'd like it. I knew you'd get on board.
Yeah. Oscar, you have any thoughts on Sonon?
I think it's going to be okay. In the party attack deck would be pretty cool. But yeah, just like the party with the Yuffie is nice.
Yeah.
To draw 2 cards.
Yeah.
Oscar's going to get really revved up once we get to Earth.
Lightning.
We're out of his element right now.
pun intended. So Bart's, you can pay 3 crystals instead of paying the CP cost to cast Bart's. When Bart's enters the field, reveal the top 2 cards of your deck. Play a character of 3 or less among them onto the field and add the other card to your hand.
You know I'm excited for this, right?
I was gonna say this card is like really, 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 really good. Like,
I'm excited for this, right?
So I think in the scope of like mono wind, this card is cool. I don't think that it goes along with the conventional mono wind that we have today, or that we've had in the last few sets at least. But I think if there's a way to generate a decent amount of crystals, being able to play this, and then most of your stuff in mono wind is fairly cheap anyways, so playing a character of 3 or less, just looking at this Cisne, you're going to be able to refund quite a bit of CP. If this is your second cast, then you're playing Rosa, and then you just basically play one more card, and boom, you get to reactivate everything. Like the fact that if I had 3 crystals, let's call it 2 CP value on a crystal, right? Because it's kind of where we've been for the last little bit. Oscar and I were talking about how I think it's a little less now, but you're basically paying 6 CP to play a character of 3 or less onto the field, and then add the other card to your hand. So you're effectively getting 5 CP worth of value back to your hand. I think that's really, really good. I don't think paying 8 for it is worth it, though. I think that's where it becomes a lot less efficient. I think you kind of need a way to play, or you need a way to get the crystals. I think outside of the crystals, it's not nearly as enticing to me. If we want to talk about 1 CP Leo decks playing it, like that's a whole nother thing, because
whole other conversation.
Because like this is not tied to wind really, right? Like it's when he enters, reveal the top 2, play a character of 3 or less, and add the other card. Like it does not care that it's a wind card or whatever. I think that part's really, really cool. So if you have a deck that's like Hithlo, I mean, think about Hithlodius and the Hithlo combo. Like that's a really cool card to play in there. Yeah, but other than like those niche cases, I'm not like super high on the card. But I think if you're in a deck that already is going to generate crystals, I think it's really, really good.
I was gonna say the same thing of just, this is effectively a whatever color you need it to be card, because it can go in any heavy crystal generation deck. And I definitely agree with you. Like if you're casting this for 8, that means you had literally nothing else to do with your turn. Like you just needed to establish a body, and that was it. Like you have this card and 4 other backups in your hand. Like this, if this is what you're doing, then okay, I probably won this game. But like in any crystal deck, like I would consider running this in Warrior of the Crystal.
Yeah.
Because if I say played a backup that made a crystal, and on my next turn play Lucio, fish through my deck for 2 other Warrior of the Crystal, go to combat, make 2 more, second main phase, pay 3, drop this, and refill my hand a little bit. And then at worst, I've established a 9k and an 8k body on board.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's
and I've refilled my hand 4 cards.
It's completely busted in Warrior of the Crystal, I think. Most of the Warrior of Crystals are
really like
3 to 4 CP anyways, right?
Mm-hmm. So, plus you also have Glaciella.
Yeah. And it also opens you up to be playing Cyan, because you're already going to have a bunch of crystals anyways.
Mm-hmm.
He's a character
and
of 3 or less.
Plus the fact that it's a character of 3 or less, you could drop the Cyan, you could drop Glaciella. There's a backup that bounces a 4 to 4 or less back to the hand and gains you a crystal. So you could also play some removal off of it. I really, really like this card, and if they make more heavy crystal generation decks, it's a water backup. 3 costs.
Servo,
there we go, Severo.
Yeah, Severo.
And so it's like, or you can even play Paladin or any of the like crystal draw card backups.
Yeah. Which
off of it.
That makes it way more CP efficient when you like break it down that way. Because it's going to give you the crystal and a card back, and you're going to basically draw one off of it and the backup, so you're +2.
Exactly. So it's like, I think in any heavy crystal generation deck moving forward, this would probably be an auto include, because there's literally no drawback to not playing it, or there's no drawback to playing it, right? Like, unless all your curve is all 4 or more, I think that's the only thing that I could see where this is a heavy drawback. But other than that, I don't see this not going in like any heavy crystal generation deck that exists.
Yeah. Now, for all the people in chat that basically got the full art but not the signature, I shed tears for you. Oscar, do you have an opinion on Bart's?
Yeah, I'm gonna probably try and get 3 of them. I'm gonna put back Wind, Water, Bounce back together with like Boluso and everything, and just Chocobo this back to your hand and playing it again. If you already have a list out, just generating a lot of advantage, I think.
Yeah.
If you're set up.
Now all we need is like a 3-cost Cat 5 character that'll generate a... Oh, wait, what am I saying? We have the 2-cost Warrior Light from the starter deck that'll generate a crystal off of this, right? Oh, no, it's not DFF. It's not DFF.
He only generates it off DFF.
Okay, wow, bummer. But
you got so I guess return it back to your hand, too, and then play it again. It generates a crystal.
True. Okay, so I guess all we need is like some Warrior Light or Cat 5 Crystals Matters generator to also be paired with it, and then man, that deck is gonna cook. I kind of really like that.
Yep.
Next we have Pinello. So if you control a Vaughn, the card name or the cost required to cast Pinello is reduced by 2, so she's effectively free. When she enters the field, reveal the top card. If it's category 12, add it to your hand. So, free cards are always good. Free cards that draw a card is even better, because that literally replaces itself.
I think there's a better Pinello out there, but
yeah, for sure.
I don't know.
I think there's getting to be close to a world where, because like if both of you will for sure remember, but my Mono Wind played this Balthier. I was pretty high on this Balthier. So when you effectively have a free card that counts towards your card cast, that also draws you a card, that also pings something for 3k, that can also be used to reactivate all your characters, I think that's pretty good.
No, that Balthier is cracked.
Yeah, I still really like this Balthier. Like, I love that Balthier so much. And Oscar, I'm almost sure that you're talking about the Wind Pinello that draws or protects, right?
The water Pinello.
Yeah.
Based off the amount of Sky Pirates you get to draw a card.
And I think in the larger scope, yes, I think that is a better Pinello. But I think that Pinello, this new Pinello in general, is really, really interesting if we want to build mono Wind Sky Pirates or something like that. Because this, being that it's a Sky Pirate, being that your Sky Pirates are all going to be category 12, I think that's...
And you're surely going to have a Vaughn.
Right, I think that's going to be an angle that you can take, and I think that's kind of interesting. And the fact that your Sky Pirates are already going to be able to generate water based on the Philo, I think you're pretty much mono Wind with like a water LB deck. You know, if you remember in Chicago last year, that was a really interesting version of mono Wind that we saw that basically played like 1 or 2 water cards outside of like Leo and Titus. But it was effectively still mono Wind that used Sky Pirates. I think this card really, really goes along with that.
Well, I kind of like it, and I know Sky Pirates already has like 1,000,001 Pinellos. I can definitely see this in like a mono win version of it, or at least definitely having a home in one of the other non-standard formats.
Yeah.
As you said, it's a free card that just replaces itself. It don't get better than that.
Yeah. There's literally only one card in the game that I can think of outside of that Pinello that does that, and it's an Opus 1 card. This Pain right here. So if you control Yuna, she draws a card, and then if you control Riku, she activates 3. So she pays for the self here, and she replaces herself in hand. That's the only other card that I know that truly does that at the efficiency rate that this Pinello does. So
yeah,
very cool. Oscar, do you have a Sky Pirate opinion on that?
Is our Sky Pirates main?
Nah, I just probably wouldn't play it.
Right. Moving on to Fina. This is a card I'm sure Oscar's going to have an opinion on. So your warp cost can be paid with CP of any element, and then when Fina enters the field, you can search for a card with warp and add it to your hand. And then she has a dull ability to choose a card removed from the game, remove a warp counter from it. You can only use this ability during your turn. So I feel like everybody's going to be pretty high on the fact that I can accelerate my warp counters. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say I wished it was the other way. I wish I could add warp counters. The only reason I say that...
Really?
Yes, because the only reason I say that is when you get into cards like this Physalis, this is such a cool card, but it's literally warp 1, which means that I need to warp it this turn and then effectively keep my hand together so that I can play my forward of 5 or less, right? Or, if we're talking other scenarios, we have the Golbez that plays the Archfiends. I would love to be able to add more warp counters to this guy, because then I could still, even though you're disrupting my board, you're killing my things, I can still have the ability to play those Archfiends and draw more cards. I think that is a little bit more of an interesting angle for me personally, but I do understand that this card is going to accelerate warp decks a little bit, which I think is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. I'll let you go first ahead of me this time, Oscar.
I think it's pretty cool. My warp deck right now is basically wind ice, so it makes you be able to search Estinian if you wanted to play Estinian, and then you can cast the warp for Estinian. The 1 CP. Yeah. I think that's pretty cool. It'd be a good searcher for Estinian, because you can't play that in my warp deck. And then also, I don't know, it's just probably going out on a limb, but just if you could make a warp deck and then add your Ramza, and then just play like a wind ice, and just play all the ice, knights in the wind ice.
Ooh, okay.
And then warp your Ramza.
It's interesting, yeah.
That is kind of interesting. I kind of like that. I feel like it. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I just that's probably going on pretty out there, pretty far. But
I mean, hey, you don't forget who you're on the phone with. Both of us love some good jank. So, I honestly, again, this is one of those things. Kind of goes along with the Barts. I feel like this can be made to find a home in any warp deck that exists, because it's a fixer in its own way. So I really like that. So even if you're running, say, a one of like a very particular warp card that's off element, play your Fina, go get it, warp it out. You don't have to worry about drawing it and it making your hand awkward for the rest of the game. Like, I feel like it opens up the door for just a lot of very what's the word I'm looking for? I guess a lot of very weird plays that you may not be able to normally make due to the restrictions. I know a lot of the warp cards, they have like those 2 pips, so you need, this and this, or they have like those 2 pips, so you need like to have the pitch for it. And so I kind of really like that. This kind of just makes it does the same thing where like running off element stuff in your deck so you can cast very specific things in your LB. I kind of like that. I like the fact that it just opens the door for deck building. especially for warp. I kind of really think that's really cool.
Yeah, and I was double checking because this vein it would be like really really good if this draw one card was not once per turn.
It would be banned if that draw one card was it once per turn.
I do like the idea that choose a card removed from the game. The only restriction here is that it has to be used during your turn. I wish that it was not during your turn, because bringing something in off of warp during your opponent's turn would add so much more of like a very fluid gameplay type of sense to me. I think that would really raise the bar in terms of what warp could do. But I do want to point out it's not once per turn. So if you are trying to, do some shenanigans where you're already in wind, obviously, if you're playing this card. So, maybe you run a 1 of or 2 of Asura so that you can, remove 2 warp counters during your turn, and that effectively means that you're removing 3, because if you removed 1 at the beginning of main phase 1 from everything that you had, and then you use this to remove 2 more, obviously that's a huge tempo swing for your warp characters. So I think that's kind of interesting. I think that's kind of the coolest thing that I see with it in its current state. Being able to just reactivate it and do it again is really, really, really cool.
Yeah, I do kind of wish you could do that, because I think it would bring a lot of very interesting interactivity to like the warp game plan of just, hey, just so you know, I can just bring this in on your turn, which then prompts, okay, do I get rid of it? Do I really need to worry about it? Do I just ignore it? It prompts more questions so that your opponent can't just play solitaire. Like, they have to actually think about the card and keep it in mind. Yeah. But I can see how they did this just for like a balancing issue.
Because imagine like using this to accelerate your Theodore onto the field during your opponent's turn. Like, that would just be such a cool way to like play the game. It would just be really, really interesting.
That would be backbreaking as all hell. Like, all right, so at the end of your second main phase, we're going to accelerate Theodore. I know you saved those 3 cards in your hand. Don't know what they are. Don't really care. They're gone.
Yeah.
Like, that would be absolutely backbreaking.
It would pretty much be telegraphed, though, right? Like, if you knew that I was playing this and I had Theodore warped, you're already expecting to like dump your hand by the time Theodore comes in. But this already accelerates that to an extent to where they have to do it like now. Like, if I warp Theodore and cast this, they have to do it now, because for sure Theodore's coming in. Because Theodore's warped 2, right, Oscar?
Yeah. He's warped 3.
Warp 3. No, warp 2. Yeah.
Yeah, he's warped 2. So if I warp Theodore and cast what's her face, then you for sure know that that Theodore's going to come in my following turn, because this is going to gain its ability to dull, and then it's going to snowball from there. So I mean, I just think it'd be cool to be able to do it, just to have some extra firepower during your opponent's turn. But
yeah, it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't type of situation. That's what that would be.
So then we have Gorger. So the previous ones that we had, we saw the fire one has haste and the ice one had first strike. So I'm going to assume that our earth one is going to have brave, but this one doesn't have a keyword, which is kind of unfortunate. But 2 CP during your turn, becomes a forward with 7k, cannot be blocked by a forward of 3 or more. So that's interesting. I do like that. That's not necessarily like a keyword, but it is basically keyword soup for something that wind usually does. And then wind, Gorger deals damage to your opponent, put him into the break zone, choose up to 3 backups, activate him, and draw a card. Okay. That's actually quite a lot. Because that means...
Quite a lot for a monster.
Yeah, that means we're effectively going to like pay 2 CP to play this guy out. We're going to swing with him, hit you, and then I'm going to gain 5 CP worth of value back. So I'm netting 3 CP overall. That's a pretty big chunk of CP. I don't hate it.
Plus, And it's multiplayable.
And it's category 7, which is
And
relevant
category
for
7.
some things. Just saying.
So from like the last 2-3 sets that we've had, there's not been a lot of like playable monsters from what I've seen. Like maybe there's like one or two standouts, like the Apakalu, do people play Piranha much anymore in the monsters lists? I don't think they do.
Not
Not as
heavily.
much
No.
Marlboro though.
Yeah. Like Marlboro. And it's like there hasn't just been a ton of I can worry. I have to worry about this types of monsters to come out in the recent sets. This one, it feels like one that you kind of have to respect a little bit. Not a ton, but I do like the fact that it has evasion. Whatchamacallit? If you kill it, you get benefits from it. So it's one of those things where it's like, I don't want it to stick around, but I know I kind of have to deal with this at some point. But in doing so, am I in the position to let you get that much benefit off of it? Right?
True.
And so I'd be curious to see how this can get played, because I'm sure like you play it out turn one, it's like okay, it's a 7K that I don't really have to worry about. Can't be blocked by 3 more. Okay, yeah, sure, whatever. And then it starts getting to that like 5-6 damage turn, and it's like, okay, hold on.
Yeah, I gotta do
I
something.
can't target this on my turn. Right, like I have to do something about this. And when I do something about it, you're going to get benefit from it. So then I have to also, not only do I have to do something about it, I have to prepare for your follow-up to me doing something about it. And so I feel like it'll be pesky in some situations.
And just to be clear, it has to be put into the break zone whenever it deals damage. So like, it's one of those like, hey, I'm going to like hold this over your head. It's almost a mind game of like, hey, I don't have to attack with this right now, but I could.
And in the meantime of me not attacking with it, guess what I'm doing? Having it down for Alexander.
Very, 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 very true. I like it. And then I'm not going to spoil all of Oscar's idea, but he does have a really cool idea with some of the new monsters that we'll probably talk about at a later date. But
okay.
I don't know, Oscar, do you have anything to say about Gorger?
I think this could possibly change monsters. I mean, not like drastically or anything, but I think you run a wind water monster deck with these, because just being able to activate your backups is nice. Draw a card, so you just play your Tomberries or your blue worms, draw a card, then play this, or then attack with this, draw another card, activate your backups, and continue playing, and while dealing points of damage to your opponent.
True.
Because more than likely they're not going to be able to block it.
Right. And I did quickly find out at locals last week that I can draw through my entire deck if I'm not careful.
Yeah.
If you're not drawing through your entire deck, it's not a Ryan built deck.
That's also fair.
Is Mira, the Earth Mira, does she prevent breakage for monsters? So could you mirror this to keep it around?
So it does prevent
it in the break zone.
Yeah, but it says put into the break zone.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're a little. It's a little wonky with that one, but yeah, this character cannot be broken. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Classic Final Fantasy wording.
Yep.
That's weird.
Yep.
Understandable.
Yeah. Next we have a card that is almost in French, so I'm not going to try it. 1 CP backup. Millefeuille. Put it into the break zone. Draw 2 cards. That's actually huge. You can only use this ability if there are 15 or more win cards in your break zone. So I do have thoughts on this card in the sense of A, it's a Moogle, so it's pretty easy to set up in Mono Wind. B, it taps and puts itself into the break zone, which I'm not a huge fan of usually, but this does open up a slot for more backups to be played in Mono Wind, which sometimes can be beneficial. And then 2,
Here's a Chocomo.
Exactly. So then it draws you 2 cards, which is also huge. Now, obviously, the restriction of 15 or more wind cards in your break zone, that's going to be more of a mid to late game kind of situation. But as Leon obviously alluded to earlier, I draw through my deck in every deck that I play, so it's not going to be terrible for me. So one of the things I do like, and I will probably get confirmation, but if I'm thinking about this correctly, you can only use this ability if there are 15 or more win cards in your break zone. It doesn't require you to have the 15 on resolution. So I can put her into the break zone, and then that effect is on the stack to draw 2 cards. Whether you miss Dragon me after that doesn't matter. So I can do this at the beginning of my turn as my first action, and it gets around Miss Dragon, which is still pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know. I like it, but I'm not sure that it's good enough to just play in Mono Wind.
I would imagine, to go off of your first statement of checking of how it resolves, I think it still resolves considering that it checks for that permission to be able to put into the break zone anyway, so I think it just still goes off regardless.
Yeah.
And I feel like just in Mono Wind in general, I feel like people will look at it and have the same thought of, oh, I need 15 at my break zone. That's too much. I'm not gonna get there. But I'm pretty sure people thought the same thing when it came to like the Cat 8 stuff, where it's like, oh, this cares about the amount of stuff in your break zone. In some situations they're milling and it's like, oh, I'm not gonna get there. But then you actually get there, it's like, oh, getting here was a lot easier than what I actually thought it would be. Never mind.
Yeah.
Plus, with as many spells as you cast in a turn with Mono Wind, yes, you're doing a good deal of recursion, but it's like, I think beyond turn 2, once you get past turn 2, you're gonna have at least 11 cards in your break zone regardless, just through all the casting, drawing, casting some more, casting your Luso, drawing more cards. You're gonna get there a lot faster than what you would think. And then you're gonna blink and be like, oh, hey, alright, cool, I'm here at 15. Go to draw for turn, didn't get what I needed. Alright, cool, sack this, draw 2 more cards. Alright, I got what I needed. And so I think, as you said, it would be a nice mid to late game card that I don't think would be a bad thing to run at least 2. I could see it at 3, maybe, if you just had nothing else to run, but at least 2. I kind of like it in Mono Wind. 4 cards never hurts.
I'm leaning more of a one of personally. The only reason I say that is because if you think about the main backup line that Mono Wind wants to run, you've got Chocobo Sam, which is 4 CP, so you can play him on curve turn 1. You're going to search for your Fat Chocobo, which is 5 CP, which means you're playing him on curve turn 2 based off of your Chocobo Sam. And then that is going to play a 3 CP or less from the deck that's a card named Chocobo. So usually you're going to grab Chocomog, right? I mean, not Chocomog, Chocolate. So right there, that entire backup string is so on curve, and then you basically have 2 backups for the rest of the turn, or for the rest of the game that or I guess over the next few developing turns that are going to kind of play things on curve anyways. I don't know. What I'm getting at is I don't feel like I ever have 1 CP out there lingering to cast this. I think it's great, but I want to see it late. I don't ever want to see it early. And even then, it's kind of weird because I kind of want to get it down early just so that I can have some value out of it, because even if I go 2 turns and it produces 2 CP, it's already gotten its life back out of it, so to speak. So I don't know.
It's like one of those, you'd probably want it to be your 5th backup, after you've already gotten set up and you're doing mono win things.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, in a lot of the games that we've played, you've successfully set up your backup line. You've got Rosa online. You've got Atomos online. You've like done the thing, and then you draw for your next turn, and neither of them are something that you would want. Like, you can probably count the amount of games where we've had where you've drawn for turn, you're all set up, and then you go, all right, so pass, and I'm just confused. Like, wait, what do you mean pass? You didn't draw anything else that you could have wanted.
Yeah.
And so I think this could help sort of fill that gap of, okay, I need to keep my momentum going. I need to get more cards into my hand that aren't just more backups.
Well, like, so this is...
I definitely think it's a one-of and mono win.
Yeah.
Just because it's searchable off of Chocomog, and it's 1 CP, so that's cast 2, just to help out with your cast count, and then later on you can ditch it to draw 2 cards.
Yeah, I think it's a very similar card to Chocolate, where like it's eventually going to draw me cards, but it does it all in like one like big burst almost. Like this is the exact deck minus the No, because I wasn't playing No when we went to the Winter Cup. But other than that, this is the exact deck that I was playing in Winter Cup, and I think if I'm looking at this, the one thing that I might cut for it is like one buddy. Like if I cut a buddy and put the French Moogle in there, then I don't feel terrible about that. But like other than that, I don't like want to get rid of anything else for it. Like I like the No because it's a 7k ping for some pretty, or it's technically it's a 9k ping. For some things, which is it's really cool, but I don't know. Like, it's weird. Also, like it
would warrant some testing.
Yeah, a 1 CP that when it enters also deals 3k is also really good. Like that's kind of the way that I look at most of the cards here. Like even this card, even though it doesn't technically do anything on enter. It's a free card, it's a free backup, it's a free cast, and now it's going to deal 3k when it enters. So, that's really cool. I think the Balthier gives this a little bit extra text, which I really like. So, I don't know, I could see it being a one-of.
It's so cute.
It is, and it has a full art. So... Larsa, when Larsa enters the field, you may search for an Ash, Bosch, or a Job Judge and add it to your hand. So that's a whole Pandora's box. But when Category 12 forward you control is put from the field into the break zone, you can put Larsa into the break zone. And when you do, add that card back to your hand. So, yeah, I think that's fairly interesting.
With some pseudo protection in a way.
Yeah.
In the form of just recursion.
Yeah. And then I think what I like about it most is that it doesn't put Larsa in the break zone instead. I think it lets it go to the break zone and then adds it to your hand. So if you have a card that benefits off of going to the break zone, that's pretty huge. So you still get the effect trigger of when it goes to the break zone, plus you get to add it back to your hand to cast it to do it again later. I think that's pretty cool. So thinking about card name Ash, card name Bosch, card name or Job Judge, I did kind of poke around with this just a little bit because this was a card that got spoiled way back when. So one of the things that I think is interesting is not necessarily the Job Judge. Oh, I'm dumb. I mean, obviously, there's a couple of different things you can do here. I like the idea of searching for Drace. I think that's really, really cool. You could search for this Gabranth, or this Gabranth, rather, if you feel frisky. So, looking at like a way to go from backup to backup, Wind Earth and Wind Lightning both gain a huge boon with this particular Larsa. Or, if we're looking at card name Ash, going to Wind Water now is another option. And then Bosch doesn't really have a lot. But I think going...
He has what he needs.
Yeah. Like, you get, like, obviously 2 really stellar Bosches if you want to. But I think in general, backup to search backup is huge for this because you get wind earth in there, or you get wind water, or wind lightning. And I think that's a pretty good consistency piece to a lot of different decks.
And you could, in theory, play both of the ashes. You know, like you play the wind ash and the backup ash. Use Larsa to go get the backup ash, and then when you don't need the backup ash anymore, return it to your hand, and then play the other ash.
Yeah, very true. The only thing that I don't much care for is there's not really any good special on either of the ashes other than this one.
Yeah.
And that's pretty terrible. 4 CP to gain 2k in first strike. I definitely am not jumping.
Hey! It was Opus 2. Give it its grace. It probably did some work back then. If you were around during Opus 2, let us know. Did that ash like put in some work, or was it still bad then?
I can't wait for everybody to say no. But yeah, that's kind of my take on the Larsa. That's really all I see that I love about it.
Knowing me, if I tried to build it, I'd probably do just that and run both, and then probably get caught up with 3 ashes in hand, nothing else really to do. But I do like it.
Yeah, it's alright.
Would you run this in... Well, I guess it's not a reason to run it in Sky Pirates, right? Do you run any ash in Sky Pirates?
No, but
I
there.
guess you just have like a water Larsa, right?
I think this is helping out that other wind ash or stuff just with the counts. It might be a wind earth Bosch deck or something along the lines of that, playing the brand.
Yeah, I was gonna say
just
wind earth,
wind
earth, water.
Wind earth, water.
Yeah, wind
wind
earth. Like category 12 seems like a good deck right now. It really does. Because she plays.
I gotta get a hold of my friends.
She plays a category 12 character, and I will tell you that the full arts have really started to do some things.
Like up in price.
Yeah.
How much are the regulars?
Regulars aren't 79 cents and $1.66 for foils. So
Actually, I gotta get my friends sooner rather than later, just in case.
yeah. Next, moving on to not gonna try. The cost required to cast your job 12 can be paid with CP of any element. So this is our color fixer. Put this into the break zone. You can choose a job 12 that gains. It cannot be chosen by your opponent's summons until the end of the turn. So my only criticism here is I would never ever put this into the break zone. Not unless I had one to immediately play right over. Being that it's a color fixer, this is kind of like why you're kind of running it, and it just feels awkward that we would say that we like want to get rid of it for some reason. So
yeah, if this is like just a tap, like dull it and have this effect, that'd be a lot better. But damn, like you're really shooting yourself in the foot if you're sacking it.
yeah.
Like you either have to be ready to win the very next turn, or you're just kind of SOL a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a lot of targeting in the game nowadays, especially in like the standard format.
And
so it's like
I don't see a lot of summons being like thrown around much anymore, so it's not like it's huge in that regard. But
my bad. I thought it was summon or ability.
Yeah. But even then, like, I mean, I almost want to say, yeah, I'll just let that go. Like, much rather than getting rid of my color fixer, you know?
Yeah, no, especially in a deck that seems like it wants to run at least three elements
Yeah.
at minimum. Otherwise, it doesn't feel very worth it.
Yeah, I just don't see it.
It's a 12 card.
It is a
You
12
can
card.
play it and leave it
Does
on
its
there.
job.
Yeah. And it's going to stay on the field.
Yeah. Must be nice to have a fixer.
Yeah.
I'm still brooding.
And then we end wind on our Dragoon here. Pretty much a reprint from 11 sets ago. So just goes to show
This
you
is the
power.
third reprint it's gotten.
It just goes to show you the power of these guys. They're so good. They are so good.
Look, they have to make sure all formats have access to the backup crystal generators.
Yes. I really wish that they would reprint the ones from 23. But
The 3 costs.
yeah, I wish they would alternate between them just so that there's a little bit of variability. But, that's just me.
Yeah.
Okay. Really quickly. So that is an hour and a half by itself.
Yes.
So we may want to pause there, and then we'll do Earth. So
Okay.
Leon, what was your favorite wind card that we talked about?
Arts and Sonon.
Gotcha.
Awesome. And mainly because you know me, I don't know why, I don't know when, but I've been really, really loving building crystal decks.
Yeah.
Cat 4 crystals, Warrior of the Crystal, like outside of like 13, those have been some of my favorite decks to build. They're just kind of interesting. They require a lot of moving pieces to work, but when it comes together, it just feels really, really nice.
Yeah. Oscar, what about you?
I'm going to say Fina. Like that.
I could have guessed that one.
Yeah.
Myself, I'm probably Cisne. Like, there's no doubt that the Cisne isn't like my favorite card.
It's free.
At
worst, it's free.
Yeah, I know exactly. I would say if there was a close second, it would probably be the Sonon or the Barts, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, so that's the wind video. I guess let us know down below kind of what your thoughts are on the wind this set. And yeah, we'll come back with the Earth after this.
I guess for all those out there, again, any WoF players and any of like, what's that? Is that 14 for the 12?
Yeah, it's category 14.
Okay, so for any of the WoF and Cat 14 players, let us know what you think of the archetypes. Like, do they have some merit? Is there something we're just simply not seeing? I don't think neither of us play WoF. None of us play WoF at the moment. Yeah, let us know if there's anything that you're seeing that we're not.
I can't wait for them to say no.
No. Bad archetype. Bad cards.
All right, guys. See you in the next one.